Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Today is continuing in Tiny Tales. We are going to color first the painting and then the crown. So I'm going to use Brutfuner flower boxes. I thought I would share my Brutfuner organization. I have downloaded the Brutfuner flower boxes as a 520 set, so it uses the largest case. I have a 480 case, and I pulled out the neons and the metallics, and I believe the two whites as well aren't in here. The whites are very good on this set, by the way. So I found a swatch chart. I think it's Bruno's Art Gallery had a review, and it is in French, and I went ahead and shrunk this down to fit so that vertically I could have 2 sheets per. The nice thing about this set, and is why I chose this over any other 520 set, well, I own the student grade 520 set that has the random numbers on it, and in my research I bought those to be art on the wall, and I thought it would be cool to go ahead and have a set to use and color with. And in my findings, the student grade is inferior to the flower box, and I don't know for sure between the Color 520 and the flower box 520 which is better, but the organization of the Brutfuner is far superior to the Color 520, which is again the random numbers that aren't necessarily in any order. So the flower boxes were put together by whoever is selling them, where on each pencil are numbers. I'll just grab a dark one here. So there's this little number, and then there's also these codes, which I believe is the color groupings, and then it even has 520, and YK1 is the color grouping. And this little number you can't even read, it just feels like a little lump, and I used white for the dark colors, black for the light colors, and then silver and black to actually write the numbers big on the end for myself. So then when I pulled from Bruno's Art Gallery this sheet and I doubled them up, then they got cut them in half and wrote down the little codes 1 through 520, so they're all nicely numbered. And I don't have room for a little hole. I could put a 1/8, or a 1/16. I have a tiny pinhole punch that I have half contemplated putting a hole in if I want to do a closer color match, but for now I'm happy with them not being punched. They have very clever names. I know that the Color uses a little more traditional type names, and then the Brutfuner student grade ones that have the random numbers on them, that does coordinate, by the way, with the same numbers that are on the Brutfuner square set, and I have the Chinese version. So all of these Brutfuners and the Colors also have the same numbers. I've done a matchup of a few of the numbers to prove that the Color and the Brutfuners, many of the Brutfuner sets, do have these random numbers that match, and the colors also match. However, not so with the flower boxes, but I love that they came already in color family order, numbered 1 through 520. The evens in one box, the odds in the other. So like on the back of each of these sheets, I have numbered them 1 through 10. And then here we are today, where I am going to pick colors for Tiny Tales for this image right here. We're going to go ahead and do the painting on the easel. And I'm going to go ahead with you guys and pick some random colors. There are so many shades. This particular set has 2 rows of pencils per page, and so I will be digging for colors. I'm going to go with I'm going to go ahead and go with light wood for the easel. And my scene will have green trees, blue water. Maybe I'll do light green for like the grass and the hill, and then blue for the sky. So I'll try to keep it pretty simple, and then I'll grab a couple of flower colors. I'm not going to worry too much about light to dark because it's such a small image. So looking at my swatch chart, for the greens, I like this for the trees. They are somewhat conifer looking. And then I'll pick something light, like classic green for the grass. And I might go ahead, I've got this nice blend between these four here. And I think that's a good contrast to the cactus. I can even go, this summer green could be a light color, since I want to make sure I have a very big differentiation between the trees and the grass. And then here are the numbers I'm looking for. So if you look here in the book, sadly the numbers for the light greens I am looking at are right here. These right here you can see go light, a little bit darker, all the way through. So these are very nicely set up to be good instant color combos. I am going to grab 134 is pistachio. I will probably skip. Oh, this is interesting. Summer green. Right here is green flash. 136. And I just noticed now that my swatch sheet does not have green flash filled in. It's probably the only one that, for whatever reason, maybe I had this out, misplaced it, had it off and running. I always do the outer edge in the solid darkest color for color matching, and then I like to see how they look kind of softened to the lightest on the inside of my rectangle. So if I were to do a small punch in all of these, it would be out here on the deepest colored area. All right, so I'm not going to use green flash, but I did want to fill it in. I encounter all of these, like I'm great at 99%. That's kind of like I am good at swatching, but I am not good at 100% swatching. I have a tendency to want to be done. Even if that means flash green was somehow not in the vicinity when I was coloring that particular rectangle, so it didn't get colored in. And of course, I just keep going forward. I'm more of a always moving forward person. I'm going to skip the flash green. Like I said, I'm going to do 137. Because this green field is the largest space, which is still pretty small on this, I'm only going to go a couple, maybe 3. So let's go ahead and go with Online Lime. See, they have very clever names. The colors are, Classic Green is pretty boring. Pistachio Green, Classic Green, and Online Lime. Online Lime being an example of one of their funner names. Okay, so then I'm going to grab what I said I was going to use for the dark green, which is quite small, and that is number 146. 146 right here, cactus green. I think that this one is a little out of place. If you look at it, we have the olive tones here, but it's like there needs to be, if they did the sort order, the difference between the foliage and the cactus is pretty extreme. And then you go to the next page. And the next page, here's where we have these dark olives that willow bough could be back here. You know, so I have difference in opinion on the color sort, because I would put willow bough in between foliage and cactus. But I just like that it wasn't a lot of work on my part for so many pencils. I will take someone else's organization, and even better that these already came organized. It was time enough just to get the numbers these stamped numbers exposed and then written very large to make sure I could read them, which I have found works the best. All right, so that's the greens. I can just go to the light blues and grab a sky blue, going through my very large book. It feels like a tome, like a big ancient tome. It feels very cool. So 210 is the lightest. This is probably going to be one that gets used a lot. I would imagine it is going to be, it might even be, so if you look at it right here, it is the shortest of my light blues because it gets used the most. And then I might just grab a darker one so I have a little bit of contrast. Next, I'm going to grab an aqua color, and I have a whole bunch of aqua colors here, and I'm just going to I might pick a darker one because the greens, let's do a middle color. Bluebird is 275, so that's a middle tone, and then a darker one, maybe enamel blue. I don't even think I need two. I'm just grabbing two just in case, because it'll be more annoying if I decide I have room to go with some color light to dark. I want to have them pulled right now rather than later. There's green grass that the easel is standing on. I'm going to use the same greens. Then I have a flower, and I have these beautiful fuchsia colors right here. I will say that the hot pink barrels don't match what the colors are at all. I also try to put pencils away. You'll notice that for the most part, the numbers are exposed. If you see that these two pencils are reverse, that means I was using them in a project and had to put them away for some reason, and then left them reverse. But to my knowledge right now, I don't have any whips outstanding, so I could go ahead and put them back, flip them in the reverse order if I wanted to, and have them being lined up with the rest. So then we have, I was going to show you 300. Here is 300. 300 is a very soft pink. Here is the 300 barrel. I mean, it does show some salmon tones in it, but it is not electric pink like the barrel shows. So for the flower, it can be very simple. I'm just going to grab pink yarrow 303. 303 also doesn't quite match the barrel. The barrel is significantly darker. In fact, the barrel is more like this color than the color of the pigment, but I'm going to use that. For the flower's two leaves, I'm going to use the dark green. That's going to be the conifer, kind of keep everything from the top and the bottom of the page. Keep this bottom area the same tones as up here with the like colors, and then I do need to come up with 3 browns. I said I wanted light, so I'm going back. Here's a whole page of light tans, and I'm going to think of it as like a maple type wood. So let's go back to this first page and take a look and find some light tones. I like bone brown as my lightest tone. It's up here in the yellows, and it is number 61. So I'm going to come over here to 61. You'll see that bone brown looks very olive greeny. And then I'm going to move down here and grab like a 73, which is roasted pecan. At one point, my silver pen, it was a Sharpie, was wearing out, and I grabbed a gold, So some of these is this one. That's a silver. 73 is silver, and 74 is gold. So even though I want to be highly organized, I will still make exceptions to be able to continue through to finish the organization, where I know some people would say, I started with silver, I'm going to stick with silver, I will run out to the store and buy silver. I just went to my pen supply and found another alternative and thought, okay, I'm happy with the using gold. So for my third color, 73, I'm going to go ahead and go with let's just use 89, which is called Friar Brown. Some of these have not been sharpened. This particular one has not been sharpened. One of the things I do like to do, since I have so many, both of these have not been sharpened or used. And here's one that was sharpened and used. So I like to try to use colors because there's so many of them. I like to use the ones that haven't been used. All right, so I have brown. I have the color for the painting, color for the grass and the flower. I think that's all I need. So I will put this aside. So again, in this second season, moving on to new books, because I finished Small Victories, I've been trying to share more about my process with everyone. Again, we have this new tiny book, and the thing I'm not liking about it is the spine relative to the size of the book, and then the fact that I want to color this image. So I have a clip, I have felt to protect the spine, to try to keep it all flat. So let's just see if I can clip this and still have access to what I'm going to color. I'm not sure how helpful that will be. The other thing I've noticed people do, they've talked about, is the height of the spine is about 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to pause for a moment. I'm going to go find a book that I can slip in there that's about 1/4 of an inch thick. And then that should probably set us up to have a successful little coloring session. All right, of all things, the best height I found, this is one of my pads that I used for Small Victories, but I actually found I needed thicker, so Small Victories is going to be my padding. And I'm going to zoom in close. And I also think that it would be good to turn the, so we have an overcast, it's warm, but an overcast day today. So I am going to there. I think that's good. And let's get to coloring. I knew this wasn't going to take long, so I thought it would be good to review my color selections and my logic. Yeah, so a lot of these that I've picked today don't have sharpened pigments, and that is just fine. See, already I wish I would have grabbed a lighter pink, even though this is tiny. Oh, and I should have grabbed a yellow too. I have a thought for what I might do. If you heard that, that is our resident, one of the many woodpeckers that we have. We have a metal roof, and sometimes they like to try to peck at our roof. So I'm using this tan, which is the lightest tan color. And since I have the tan, yeah, so I'm really not liking that I have to hold the paper down, even though I've done all of my reinforcing. I'm not sure what that is, if that's a bowl, like a bowl of water for the painting, for the artist. Moving to the middle color. So the paper is quite soft, pulpy feeling, I guess, for lack of a better term. My sun is kind of over here, so this side is going to be in the shadow, and even the painting itself is going to be somewhat in shadow. I liked the objects in this particular volume. It's not often you get to color an easel or a moped. Going to the darkest color, and I should sharpen the pigment. So I was going to say, this is, I was going to be coloring this last week when I did the Mother's Day week with my mom, where we painted or colored 3 images. I did a video summarizing that, but it actually hurt my hand doing all of that. That kind of coloring, where I'm kind of following a tutorial, I color very tensely, even though I have a light hand. I still am very tense about it. So I ended up giving my hand a bit of a break. Over the weekend, I ended up, although the break is kind of, it's just I used my hand a different way. I played disc golf, actually 3 days in a row, I think. So I got a lot of disc golfing in. The weather here has been super hot, and it's not going to get wet until like end of June, July. But when it does get wet, our local course that's closest to my house is in a lowland. Well, all of where we live is low. So it is going to be too wet and hot and humid for me to be playing disc golf. Hub took quite a bit of time off. I have a girlfriend that will play with me. She's very green to disc golf, so she's learning. She actually joined the local club here on her own, so I was surprised to find somebody here in this community close to my age who wanted to play. So it has been great to teach somebody else, because Hub taught me, and then we've played for, we knew each other in high school, and we've been playing for that long. I was never very good at it until I retired and got to dedicate a lot of time to it. So it is really fun to share my knowledge and skill with other people and help them improve there. I think that looks good. Did a little burnishing of the darker colors with this is the lightest color here. I've got some little light spots. Like I said, I've never colored an easel before. This book will give me an opportunity to color all sorts of new things I've not colored. Okay, so that's that. I've got 3 greens for the grasses. I will have all of these numbers in the description. Here's what they look like. We talked already about the unique names. There's what my color blend looks like on the grass colors. So we even, so Hub is back to being willing to play. He's only played with me 3 times, and he is so good, you guys. It's very humbling. I was doing really well. we've even had, like, we'll go, like Don and I have gone and had guys want to play through with us. Now I do have this for a hard surface. It's a cutting mat, and so that is helping me with my hard surface. And they'll say, hey, can I throw this last hole with you? And they're always shocked that a lady, an older lady, though I always am wearing a hat and sunglasses, so I'm not sure how much they can tell my age. But I throw like I know how to throw, so it's kind of fun to throw it all out there in front of strangers and have them be very impressed. So Hub now has played, and he's back in. He's on his game, so it will help me now that I am so much more fit than, say, 2 years ago when we played last for real. We've done some practicing, but this is at our local course. So it was really fun. I lost a disc today and had to go run back and find it. So that was a little bit frustrating. So he kind of unnerved me a little bit. But it gave my hand a break from coloring for a few days. I have to now do the grass down here. Yeah, so hopefully we will get back to the scheduled programming. I do have these 3 sets that I've used, which was the prang on the plants, Amazon Basics on the skull image, and then this is going to be the last set of the 36 I own that are in my rotation number 8. So I've already printed up rotation number 9. I have no new pencils to add to the rotation. Here's the dark color is cactus. We will see how well it does my trees and shrubby bits. So I have Fragile World. You guys have answered. You helped pick which image and pick the pencil set, which is I'm very excited about. I have not done a serious image with the Prismacolor 150s, so I need to go through and do some color choices and get that. I will probably be, I prefer to color the same image till it's finished, but I almost think it's good for me to have a break. I'm switching now to the light blues. So because it's good for me to have a break, I'm going to have to intermix this book, and maybe I've got a few more books that are on my rotation list. That's coming out pretty cute. This is the lighter blue, and I'm trying to leave some clouds. Very sketchy and casual. Next, I have the aqua. I have 2 colors. Neither of them have been sharpened. I'm going to try the lighter color here. I'm going to make it really sharp. The easel bar that's holding the painting, I need to color. I see that's missing. So where I'm going to do the dark after I sharpen it. It's back here in the back. So cute. my brown. I'm going to start with this lightest brown. I also, lightest brown, middle brown. Darkest brown. I don't know that I did dark brown up here, so I'm going to do a little more. All right, next thing, this little bowl, I'm going to make it pink. And the green for the floral leaves is cactus. I have middle grass green. Yeah, this is way less stressful than doing a 2-hour animal portrait tutorial. So I'm leaving the sides of that canvas white, as that would typically be how an artist would paint. I didn't grab a gray for like the knob, but I do have silver, the silver Languo right here, so I might pop back in. I'm not going to be able to get, I mean, it's a small pen nib, but I don't know about getting these little bits silver, but I will put the knob, make it silver. And we'll do that on my own time. All right, so that is it. We're at about 33 minutes. I'm going to pause. I have to go meet my mom for coffee. I will, on my own, pull the crown. It's going to be so fast. I will probably use these same colors, the 3 browns, and I'm just going to go lighter. I need to pull a yellow, like a yellow and maybe an orange for that. And then I might pull another color. I'll do, see the pink flower, and I said I wanted to have another tone, so I'll probably do a dark and a light pink for that, and then we will call this done. So I will be back in a flash. All right, I have some extra colors. I also grabbed the Languo silver from the 561 set. It's the fine point gel pen, and I want the knob, and I'm not sure if I can do these small enough, but if any pen can do it, it's these. All right, there we have it. We have a couple of extra colors for the crown. Again, have not really tested them. I didn't make a copy of this page. Just wanted to kind of go for it. So on the gem, this is the same pink that I used on the other side. I've got two other colors. Anemone is the darkest one, even though the barrel doesn't show it. And then Sparkling Grape. And I will leave one facet white. Also, want to go ahead and fill in a little bit more of this flower. I'm going to go ahead and just say this facet is the lightest. Let's see how this anemone that I told you is the darkest. How does that look? I have one extra facet here. I was supposed to not use that color. I do have my white Languo nearby. I might need that for the facet. I thought that I would do that, and then we'll just see if I can do anything interesting with that. Okay, gold. I grabbed the 3 browns from the easel on the other side, and so that's these 3 browns. And then I am adding a yellow called Sunshine and Citrus, a yellow and an orange. I also could add this, and this is chipped. It's never been sharpened, and the pigment is chipped off a little bit. Let's see what happens if I sharpen it. All right. So just starting, I did kind of a base of the yellow. I will probably stop at some point if I think it's dark enough. I won't necessarily add the darkest darks in. I'm using the shadowed lines for this darkest color. I'm putting them linear, as you can see, and trying to stack them next to each other in random orders, and then this little bit right here I've left white. I am not using the darkest brown, I'm using the middle brown, Roasted Pecan 73, as my dark. that will do it. For the shine on the gem, okay, grabbing the Languo white. I have a crying kitten who wants in. I'm going to ignore him for just one more minute because we are so close to done. So I'm going to do some gel pen white for highlights using another 0561 fine point highlight set. And then round 9, I have this moped down here, and the moped will be colored next time with Color 180 Black Tin Color Barrel. Oh, Color Barrel. Okay, I grabbed the wrong ones. And then the beginning of round 9 has some fun pencils to play with. We even get to throw in, I added the most recent addition before the Woomers was the Inktense and Elbrichter. Make sure I see them on here somewhere. Yep, Elbrichter. So that is what we are going to be doing. As soon as I finish the moped image, I will take a look at that turtle. And if I do sit down, and I will be doing a game plan for the turtle. It's not going to be spontaneous like these have been. So if I end up coming up with a good game plan, I will do the turtle first. This is very, very tiny. Very tiny. And it's a very waxy surface. I'm just trying to get some dots. You can see them better if they're on the brown. So they're not necessarily true highlight lines at this point. It's just some casual glints of white. And I think that's it. So do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, consider subscribing. Thank you all for joining me today, and welcome back if you are returning. I hope to see you all on the next one, which will either be a sea turtle or this moped. Hope to see you all there.